Hi, are you struggling with contrast and depth in your pastel portraits? Then you're right here in this video. I will show you how important lights and shadows are in your drawings and how to understand them. In part 1, I will draw an apple with only a black and a white pastel pencil. That's really fun to do and you see the amazing contrast. And in part 2, I will draw this apple. It's a green one with the colors, so with colored pastel pencils with greens and white and black. So this is really fun too, and I hope you enjoy the video. Wait just a second before we dive in. I have a free drawing lesson for you. It's a peacock butterfly with pastel pencils. How you can get it? You'll find the link below in the description.
Let's start with sketching in the outlines of the apple. Just draw with a very light hand the outlines here of a simple apple. Don't use too much pressure, and I sketch in here also the shadow and a bit of a ground where the apple sits on, and then here the area where the stem is, a highlight that's important, and just sketching the outlines. If you have made mistakes, you can erase the lines with a kneaded eraser and just correct the outlines. Then I draw a bit of a light source here in, sketch in a sun that you see from what direction the light is coming, from the upper right part here. And then let's start with the darkest areas. These shadow areas on our apple are called core shadows. I draw a darker black layer in here with the black, and below the apple, the place where no sunlight hits the ground, where the apple is in front of the sunlight and creates that shadow on the ground, that is the cast shadow, and the very dark is the occlusion shadow. Just plot in first the very dark parts in the apple, and then let's also cover the part here with black pigment. That's mid-tone area. So plot in a bit more black. I always work with little pressure, and now just add a thin layer of black because you want to bring in different values of grays when you're working with black and white, and you don't have only black and white, you have mid-tones, half tones between the black and the white. Highlight then, and you can create them easily with only the black and the white pastel pencil by using different amount of pressure. So practice to use different amount of pressure, and here then I blend the layers that they are smoother and softer. Go over with a blending tool like the paper stamp here and blend your first layer. I'm working here on the pastel matte paper from Clairefontaine. This is great for your pastel drawings, and it is so fun to work also from time to time only with black and white and create these black and white studies, and to understand from what direction the light is coming and where are the shadows placed and where are the light areas. Here I blend the shadow, I let the shadow fade into the surrounded areas and blend the layers together, that we always have soft transitions, no hard edges when you would like to draw realistically with pastel pencils and also with other mediums. Blend the layers together that you don't have hard edges. This would to look then more like a graphics. If you would like to bring the realism into your drawings, into your portraits, then blend the edges. Here I have removed with the kneaded eraser a bit of the pigment and darken down the occlusion shadow, the darkest shadow below the apple, and darken down the shadow on the apple itself. On the upper part of the apple there is the light area, and on the lower part there is the shadow area. Here I add a bit more a darker color in the areas where the shadows are and remove a bit of the pigment with the kneaded eraser. That is also working really well to remove pastel pigment from your paper and make it lighter, and then always blend the layers into the surrounded areas. Create mid-tones, and don't create only one mid-tone, create different values, different shades of gray here in that case, or different shades of color when you're working with colors. So blend here everything again. When I'm working with pastels, I always bring the subject to life by building up layers. So that's really important, that you don't use too much pressure at the beginning. Use little pressure at the beginning and then build up your subject in layers. I love to draw animals, realistic animals, but from time to time it's great to do other nature subjects. To practice to draw an apple here just only with black and white, or then also with color. That's so fun. You can remove pigment if you would like to have a lighter area. Blend again, use black again, darken down the shadow. So it's all about layering here a bit of pigment and blend it, darken down this lower part. Also darken down this part around the stem and below here, below the apple. Add again a bit more pigment, correct the shape a bit. Everything is possible. Blend again over with the paper stamp. I like to create smooth surfaces, also a smooth peel of the apple, that I don't see too many strokes, or that the paper does not appear rough. So I like the softer, smoother look, and then I blend the layers really well, so you can blend here upwards and downwards. I also follow the direction of the peel of the apple here, so that I follow along the curve. Here I blend a bit the shadow, let it fade, create lighter shades of gray here by blending into the surrounded areas, into the background paper. You also see a highlight in the shadow itself. Here this is the highlight, the whitest part, and here this is a reflected light. And here above this is the light area, the centered light where the sun hits the apple. I use here the white now, and then blend the white that it does not look gritty. Go over with the paper stamp and add a bit more light areas. Bring in white and blend black and white together to create nice gray tones. Here is the centered light area where the light hits the apple. And blend it again. So here above on the right upper area, here the light area is the sun hits our apple. This is reflected light on the left lower part, and also reflected light is in the shadow on the ground, in the cast shadow. Here bring in more white for the highlight, make it here really brilliant, and here reflected light on the shadow side. You always also find reflected light on that part that is away from your light source, and you also always find light reflections in the shadow area on the ground, that part that where the light is not coming to it, where no light can hit the ground because the apple is in front of it. So blend again everything. You see on the left lower side here the reflection in the shadow part. The left lower part is the shadow part, and the right upper part is the light part of the apple. And in the shadow part on the left you see reflected light. And on the right upper part there is the center light, and the really white stain is the highlight. So blend everything together and you see how our apple comes more and more to life, or becomes more and more realistically. Create a smooth surface, create a smooth pale, blend over with the paper stamp, blend here the black together with the surrounded areas, create nice soft transitions. Also here I blend over the cast shadow and the occlusion shadow, and here over the reflected light area, blend over the mid-tones. They are also called half-tones. It's nice to understand a bit about light and shadow, how they work. Brighten up the light area. So again, if some areas after blending are too dark, then add a bit of the white pastel pencil. I have here the white pit pastel pencil. So you can really draw a beautiful apple with just a black and a white pastel pencil and a blending stamp. Blend over it. So blending tools are really very important to create soft transitions, to blend your layers together, and you don't have to use pressure for that. Work with a light hand. Here I go over the edges again with a little pressure that I have a nice straight outline, and I'm a person that loves to add details, and so I also have to do that here in that apple study, to bring in more details, to bring in the structure of the apple. When you have a look at a reference photo and observe how an apple looks like, then you see they have stains, they have strokes, they have dots in the pale. So let's also bring this structure in our black and white drawing here. There are little dots in the pale, so I also bring in some lighter dots here in. I love to draw realistically and really lifelike, and so I also want to do that here when I practice to draw just with black and white. You can of course draw very detailed also only with black and white. You know, many artists are starting out with graphite pencils. Me too. I loved to practice and to try things out in black and white, so only with graphite pencils when I started drawing animals and started drawing in general. I loved to draw with graphite pencils in school. I loved art lessons, and just starting with black and white, it's easier than just to draw with colors right away, and to understanding lighting. That's also important, and to understand the values. So where are the darkest areas, where are the lightest areas, and this is such a nice exercise. And to draw with pastels and also use black and white, and on the pastel art paper you can go over with lights over your darks, and that's really so fun to do. Try it out. And here then I go in with the black too and add more black details, or correct some shapes, or create nice straighter outlines. I add here little strokes. Also in the light source here above, with little pressure I add some darker strokes. Add a bit of light on the stem, and again with the black go in and add details. Fine lines, fine strokes, just that there is a structure on our apple. Stains, dots, little circles or strokes. So bring in all these details here. That takes a bit of a while, but the patience is so worth it, and I must say it is also so fun to do. And you see, with every stroke you make, with every dot or mark you are drawing, your apple becomes more and more realistic. So here I blend also over with the black and add a bit more black, add a bit more highlight in the shadow area on the ground, and blend it. It should be not too much contrast there, but just brighten up this reflection in the shadow area. Blend a bit over the floor, the ground here. Just make some adjustments everywhere. I add again some more details, so bring in some more darker dots and also blend over with a thinner paper stamp that is helpful for blending fine details. There are different blending stamps available, thicker ones and thinner ones, and here I blend over the dots to make them softer. There should not be too much contrast, they should go into each other. Add again some darker dots. Also in the structure of the apple pale there are different values, different shades of gray in there. Add a bit more dark. So it's all about layering, bringing in the darks. I always say that in my drawing lessons in Animal Art Club, my drawing school. Just bring in the darks, bring in the lights, and just change darks and lights. Also when you're drawing with colors, go in with dark, then go in with light, and then again with darks, and so build up the realistic look. If you're interested, you find also the link for Animal Art Club below in the description. You can join the waitlist. Animal Art Club is only open the doors a few times a year. At the moment they are closed, but we will open again soon. And to be informed, first you can join the waitlist. I add again a bit more of the black here. Also blend and swipe over and just also create mid-tones by blending over with the black pastel pencil. And add some more details and blend with the paper stamp. Make these dots I have added and the strokes softer. Blend over the edges again, over the stem. And then add also with a sharp white pastel pencil some more details. Little strokes, little highlights. So also brighten up some light areas with the white again. You know, after blending they have darkened down. Then go over with the white. That's the nice thing when you're working with pastel pencils. Add more light in the light area. Brighten up the highlight. Soften down the edges of the highlight. Add a bit more highlight here on the left in the shadow area. This reflected light here, brighten that up. Add some little dots here below too in the structure of the apple pale. Add some more little white dots. You can also blend with the white and add some more strokes here. Add some more details, swipe over with the white with very little pressure and blend and add dots. Brighten up here the light part on the right. And so you can play and finalize your apple drawing. And now it's finished. Then let's draw the green apple. Let's draw it in colors. I sketch in here the outlines with a green pastel pencil. Do the same as I've done with the black and white apple. Just sketch in gently the outlines with little pressure. I do that with the green pastel pencil because the apple itself is green. If you use white, you have white strokes, or with the black outlines, it's better to use the color of your subject. Then with the black pastel pencil, I sketch in the shadow below, our cast shadow, and with the white, I sketch in here again a bit of the light source that you see again, that the light is coming from the right upper corner downwards, is shining downwards on the apple. And with a dark green, it's a darker olive green, I plot in here now the first base layer, the shadows, and I mix it with black. So with black and a darker green. Go in here with the black and add darker shadow parts. You can then, when you're working with colors, You of course have to bring in different colors, different shades of green. You don't have only black and white, light and dark. You have now also different colors that will play together. Here for the shadow area I use the black, but for the different green tones I mix here black with green, olive green, dark green, and mix different green tones. Let's then plot in the lightest highlight with white. So the lightest areas here, for them I use the white, sketch them in that I know where they should be. And then let's plot in the mid-tone with a light green. Here I use a May green, a very light, beautiful green for this green apple, and plot that in for the first base layer. I just apply the color to the pastel matte paper with, I would say, middle pressure. It's always important that you don't oversaturate your paper, so better to do a thin layer and then add another layer if needed. Then I go in here with a light yellow color, a cream, and bring in a bit of yellow and mix the green with the yellow, add a bit more highlights, and afterwards it's time for blending the layers together. Blend our first base layers under painting layers and create again here smooth transitions. As I've mentioned before, it's so nice to blend the pastel pigments together. You can mix colors, like here, mix a dark green with black and green. Create here softer transitions between your different shades on the apple. So between your darks and your lights and the mid-tones. Here I blend the shadow below here. I also have added a bit of green in the shadow. That's not only black. You always see also some color reflections in shadows too, light reflections, or that a meadow around a dog, for example, is reflected in the fur or in the shadow, or the sky. Then you have blues or other subjects around your animal, for example, when you're drawing animals, then you see the colors. And here you see also the color of the apple in the shadow below the apple. So there is a bit of green light reflection there. Go over a bit with a dark green, bring in more mid-tone. So I go in here with a dark green and create shades of darker greens. Here I have started right away to bring in a bit of a structure into the apple. So bring in a bit of a structure, draw some strokes downwards. You can either work with a circle motion of your pencil or create strokes depending what structure you would like to achieve. Always go also over with a paper stamp. When you're blending the layers, I apply here below in the shadow area where we have light reflections, a bit of a mid-tone, a green, an olive green. And you always can also layer over your parts you have drawn already with other colors. Use the pastel pencils for blending and bring in a bit of olive green here on the light green base layer. I add then some dots, a bit of a structure here on the apple pale again. Bring in some green dots for the darker parts. Of course, you don't do that here with black when you're working with colors. Then you use the colors of your subject for sure, the colors you see on the reference photo. And then plot in some darker greens. Here I swipe over in circles. As I've mentioned before, you can either draw circles, stains, dots, lines, strokes, curves, all the different marks you can use to build up your subject, to draw the surface here, the apple pale. And then I also blend over in little circles, or here above I follow here the structure. the direction of the lines and blend with the paper stamp. And I really like to create a smooth surface. I don't like a gritty look, so I add then with the yellow. This is a light yellow, the cream, some more fine highlights, some more details, add little strokes, brighten up the layers you have drawn with the yellow. And here in front of us, here the apple is also a bit lighter. Here I add some lighter dots between the green dots. It's always so you should have a mid-tone. You should go in with the darks when you're drawing your subject, and then add highlights. And of course focus on the shadow areas, the light areas. Here we also have on the lower part on the left the reflected light on the subject, below the shadow, the core shadow, and the highlight area is on the right above. Bring in some more lighter details, and then of course we have also to draw the stem, in that case with a brown. I have used an ochre brown here. Add shadows on the left away from the light source and blend that. Also add highlight on the right, and you then have a nice stem. I brighten up the highlight on the apple, this brilliant bright highlight here, and add a bit white around it, and use now the white pastel pencil for brightening up the apple a bit again. Add some more highlight details. You can apply a bit more highlight here above in the light area on the right, brighten up the greens, and then mix the colors together, or just use yellow. So yellow matches really very well with the green tones, and use yellow for the highlight, that it's not too white. Create more a yellowish green. When you mix yellow and green together, you can give your green a more a yellowish tone. With little pressure I swipe here over and add some more transparent yellowish strokes, and just bring the layers a bit more together. Add here a reflected highlight. Brighten up this reflected highlight a bit with the yellow, with the cream, and continue to add some more details on the apple. It's also fun to do, to practice, to draw an apple from time to time between drawing animals. It's fun to do, and you also have a quicker result than when you are drawing full animal portraits. But it's really fun how you can mix colors, you can practice how to add layers, how the colors play together, add details. Here I add some more fine strokes with a dark green, and again some more highlights. Yes, and it's so a game, going in with darks, going in with lights. Add a bit more white here, brighten up that highlight if you have the feeling it's not so shiny like you would like to have it. And then go in again with some darks. This middle area has not as much structure as I like, and then I go in again with a darker pencil, with the green, with the olive green, a middle green here, and just add some more little lines, some more little strokes, build up another layer, let some strokes here overlap, just bring in a bit more of that structure. It's always the same game. I also add a bit of green in the shadow below here, brighten up the highlight with yellow, add a bit more green, a reflected highlight in the shadow below. So blend also with the green. Then we see here a nice green tone in the shadow, in the cast shadow. And darken down this really dark, deep shadow below where no light hits the ground here. The apple is between the sunlight or the light source and the ground here, and here is the darkest area, really a dark area. I darken that down with the black. Also the lower part of the apple is a bit in the shadow. I darken it down and also blend over the lower edge to bring in a bit of black upwards. I darken down this shadow on the apple itself on the left side here, bring in a bit more black on the apple here, and add some more white little dots, add some more highlights then, so it's all again between lights and darks and mid-tones, and make sure that the values are correct. Yes, and now our beautiful apple comes to an end. I add a bit more green here below. I want to darken down the lower part a little bit more. It's a little bit too light in my opinion. Then I add some more green dots here, a bit more shadow below, and now it's finished.
Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed it. Maybe you have also drawn the two apples in black and white and in color. If you're interested in more in-depth drawing lessons, I have a beautiful butterfly to draw for you. It's a free drawing lesson. You can get the link below in the description to sign up. And if you like my channel, then please subscribe if you would like to get notifications about more videos. If you have any questions, write them below in the comments. I'm happy to answer. And then I hope I see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.